And I'm assuming that we could probably have the billing or EHR folks pull a list of everyone who has their criteria as Ryan White eligible and compare that to your list of CareWare patients, that active CareWare patients that you have, and cross-check that. And is your medical record or patient numbers the same in CareWare as they are in NextGen?
Yes, they are.
They are. Okay, got it. So that could be an easy link that can happen in that process to do that. Okay. Patient record, medical record. Okay. Awesome. Woo.
I think one other thing, if we haven't already talked about this, my brain can't remember at this point, but
I know.
the eligibility assessments, I don't know. I just feel like, would we be doing it at a monthly basis? Say we get CareWare all cleaned up. Would we be giving this to billing ideally at a monthly basis? Because sometimes the eligibility for Ryan White patients is so fluid. So like they may be eligible and waiting on, or they might not be eligible because we're waiting on a document, and then they become eligible. So I guess Maria could just update that in real time, but say that happened in between, the month. I just feel like we'll still be missing a few, and maybe that's okay, because it's kind of fluid in between the 6 month and the 12 month sometimes for patients. Not all patients, I think.
Right.
For the most part, if they're eligible and we screen them at the 6 month, or at least we hit the year, then it's pretty consistent. But there are folks that fluctuate a bit, or they may have been eligible upon initial enrollment date, but then they got a job. So then
Right.
Maria would have to go back and update that, but she wouldn't know that until 6 months into it. So if that happened, say month 2, technically, if we're still billing charges to the Ryan White program, they could be ineligible at month 2, but Maria may not catch it till month 6.
Right. And that is where you're going to need your policy and procedure.
Okay.
To outline how you're going to catch this. Like HRSA is not going to come to you and say, you're 1 day over eligibility, this patient can't be counted, right? They want you to be as precise as possible, but we understand that this is a fluid kind of process. That's why we're asking for a 6 month revisit, that we formalize that discussion that Maria is having with the patient. That patient could go back and, to month 2, from month 6 to month 2, and say, I'm no longer eligible. When that happens, Maria, do you document in CareWare that like 6 months ago, September, I was no longer eligible?
Yeah, I would. I will go into CareWare and update it.
And you would go back to, like, I said I got my job on September 15th. You would go back and say September 15th, 2021, Michael's not eligible anymore because of insurance, but because he makes too much money.
No, I usually say, for example, if the patient comes in and didn't bring proof of income or whatnot, and they're telling me it's under the FPL, right? They're meeting criteria. And when they actually bring me their pay stubs, and they're like, oh, they're making over the income, then when they provide me those documentation, that's when I would document they're not Ryan White eligible. But I usually have them, they have to provide, usually on my form, I give them 2 weeks to give me anything. So within those 2 weeks, they have to provide any POI, and I would definitely update it as soon as I get that information.
Got it. So you're giving them a grace period.
I am, yes.
They have 2 weeks to provide you that documentation, or they're no longer Ryan White eligible.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, that's for new intakes only. But if they're already intaked and approved and they don't report any changes, we won't get those changes till 6 months.
Yeah. That's for the intakes, for the new ones, and for annual. I give them grace period 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right, which is great, but you might not see the person for 6 months. Right? Like you might have those patients that are, 7 months out.
Yes.
Like I rescheduled my 6-month appointment because, I'm going on vacation. And, so I come in on the 7th month and you do my work, I bring my paperwork in. That would, and I was eligible, I would just continue on in the process. Or you would document that I'm no longer eligible at that point.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That makes complete sense. Where's that documented?
Do you have it, Kendra, on the S drive?
It's not documented formally as a procedure, but we have those forms. So I uploaded our 6-month eligibility form and our 12-month eligibility form, and it has a little line at the bottom that says you have 2 weeks to bring, and then the patient signs and Maria signs. But the actual process is not documented. I think Maria sent me an email some time ago that we could probably start getting all this documented, but it's not documented. Let me clarify. I don't believe, at least our formal process as it stands now, since I've been here, is not on there. It's not documented in a procedure per se.
Got it. Okay. And that's something that if we can put down those steps, and I think that would be really helpful for us. And what we can do is we can take the steps that we talked about today, and we can put those down. Like, this is what you kind of do, but I want to make sure that we get the systems right, because we talked a lot about, I do this in CareWare and then I do this in NextGen, and I do this here and I do this here. I want to make sure that we get it right for you. But it sounds to me like you're doing the process really great, and you're doing some really awesome documentation. We just need a procedure so that when HRSA comes out and they say, okay, how are you doing this eligibility? Oh, this person's 1 day over. Yeah, they're 1 day over, but they had a 2-week grace period to give me the documents because they forgot them when they came in. Oh, okay, it's in my policy and procedure, right? That's what they're going to go back to. They're going to go back to that policy and procedure, and just like an auditor, they're going to say, is this done? Is this followed? Like, is the timesheet signed? Is the expense report signed? That's what they're going to look for during an audit. Wow, look at this. I love this.
So this is not, I don't know if this is happening currently. This is what was generated in 2017. So again, maybe a process in a diagram, but not necessarily step by step. So I think it's